Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.
Welcome to Parenting in the 21st Century. I'm Zina Shevchik. Today we're talking about Excelsior College with Bill Stewart. He's the Assistant Vice President for Institutional Advancement at Excelsior College. Thank you for being with us today,
Thank
Bill.
you, Zina. Very happy to be here.
You kind of fed me a statistic when we were meeting before this program that says that 90% of the fastest growing jobs currently require some form of post-secondary education.
Right.
So I think that this program, learning about distance learning through Excelsior College, would be great information for parents to pass on to their children or for parents themselves looking for a job or advancement in these tough economic times. So would you tell us about Excelsior College and its mission?
Sure, absolutely. Well, Excelsior College was formerly known as Regents College. We were founded in 1971 by the New York State Board of Regents as its external degree program. We operated as a program of the Regents up until 1998 when we were awarded what's called an absolute charter as a private independent institution in our own right. 2001 changed our name from Regents College to Excelsior College, and that's what we are today.
There are many components to Excelsior College. If I understand correctly, it's considered an external degree and a distance learning program?
We fall into the genre of a distance learning institution. Distance learning encompasses a number of ways to get your education, online being just one of them. But we have 32,000 students enrolled in a variety of degree programs at both the associate and baccalaureate levels as well as master's. And we have schools of business and technology, nursing, liberal arts, and health sciences.
I know that you look for a kind of a non-traditional student. In your literature it talks about the working adult, but that encompasses quite a range of people. Am I right?
Yes, it does. Our mission really is to serve that working adult. The average age of our current student is about 39. And they come to us with generally credits that they've already earned elsewhere. They need to get a degree to either retain the job that they currently have, to get a new job, and to some extent simply for the satisfaction of having finally earned that degree.
Right. Now, working adults, see, this is me. I know I have college-age children, and I know that their friends, not necessarily my children, but their friends, have been working since they were, since they were eligible for working papers. Well, I can't quite remember what that age is, 15? 15. So a working adult can be an 18 or 19-year-old just as easily as it can be a 39-year-old or a 60-year-old.
It could be, but the traditional characteristics are an 18 to 22-year-old is what's typically thought of as your, quote, traditional student. When in fact, right now, about 58% of the people who are pursuing some form of post-secondary education are older than 22. 40% of them are 25 or older. So that definition of the traditional college-age student, 18 to 22, right out of high school, that's really a minority of the people who are actually pursuing a college education right now.
What's different, I know, about when I was in college 40 years ago, is that now it's assumed that you're going to continue your education all through your working life, changing careers, or just learning more about your career,
Right.
or getting another degree while you're at the same job, or getting a degree to translate into a similar kind of job. So that's what's new to me in post-secondary education. It's so much that's expected after the college years, the traditional college years.
Right. Well, learning is really a lifelong endeavor. You never really stop learning. If you think about it, there are any number of circumstances where you are actually learning something. It may not be in a formal classroom setting, but you are indeed involved in some type of educational pursuit. It could be on-the-job training. Maybe you're learning a new skill. You're learning a new process at the company in which you're employed. And that's really what we're about here, is recognizing that learning does take place in a number of venues outside the traditional college classroom. In fact, the philosophy upon which the college was founded is what you know is more important than where or how you learned it. And so our job is to help determine the amount of knowledge that you have, how much of that can be considered to be college level equivalent. So what we'll do primarily is take a look at the transcripts you already have from other colleges and universities. And a typical student comes to us right now with 3, 4, maybe even 5 transcripts because they've been in one place, they moved, gained a few more credits somewhere else, but never had enough to pull together in one campus to earn their degree because there may be residency requirements at various colleges. We evaluate those transcripts, apply them to, as best we can, to degree criteria that our faculty have determined for the degree that you would like to get, and then work with you to find the means to get the rest of the credit you need to fulfill those degree requirements. It could be courses that we offer. We have a nationally recognized examinations program that you could pursue following independent study, or you may choose to take classes at some other college or university and have it transferred to us.
So you offer your own, some of your own examinations that can qualify for college credit, as well as using other examinations, like the CLEP. A lot of people are familiar with.
Yes.
Does that stand for College Level Examination Program? Am I
Correct.
right?
Yes.
CLEP tests. I know that a lot of people that come into our library are looking for those books, guidebooks, study guides. So you offer as a complement to those in specialty fields?
Right. Well, both the CLEP, for example, and Excelsior College examinations are recognized by a group called the American Council on Education in Washington, D.C. as being college level equivalent. Whether what they attest is at the college level.
Okay.
And they go through a whole series of review of the exam development process and what's called the psychometric properties, that they actually do test what they claim to test in terms of knowledge. So yes, we're very similar to CLEP. In the military, there are examination programs called DANTES, which stands for Defense Activity for Non-Traditional Educational Services. Our examinations, we have about 50 or so that are in the liberal arts and business, in the nursing field, and also in the education field.
Talk a little bit about the composition of this year's graduating class, and from there then we'll talk about who succeeds in this kind of educational environment.
Well, this year's graduating class, there are about 5,200 to 5,300 people who actually earned degrees from us during our last year. And we operate on a July 1 through June 30 year. Anyone who earned a degree during that time, and people can enroll with us when they're ready, and they finish the degrees when they can. So someone could start in October, it may be a couple of years later, and they finish in March. It's not necessarily the traditional semester schedule. On average, as I said, they're about 39 years of age. They come with a variety of credits already earned. We're about 50-50 between male and female, but more than a third of our enrolled students come from groups that are determined to be historically underrepresented in higher education, the minority groups. This year's graduating class, about a third of our graduates this year came from the U.S. military. On average, about 30% of our enrollment are active duty or reserve military. And
all over the world.
All over the world. We have folks who are in theater of operations in the Middle East who are pursuing their degrees, or may even have earned it this past year, whether in Iraq or Afghanistan or somewhere in a desert environment.
That's great. Talk a little bit about who succeeds. Who is the most likely to succeed in this kind of educational offering?
Sure. Well, distance learning, especially online mode, is not for everyone. We'll be the first to admit that. Typically someone who is a self-starter, very self-disciplined, highly self-motivated, are going to be the people who are most successful in a distance learning or online environment. Online distance learning is a very flexible way to pursue a degree, but learning styles are different from person to person. Some people need or prefer to be in a classroom environment where the professor is right there in front of them and they can interact directly with that person. In an online environment, for example, you may not see that person, but you interact with them at times that are different than a traditional classroom. It may be 7 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that class meets, or 8 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's a traditional environment. In an online or non-traditional environment, the classes don't necessarily take place at a particular hour of the day, a particular day of the week. You may get off work at 6 o'clock, you go home, spend time with the family, put the kids to bed. 11 o'clock now, you go online and you have access to that course, and you have access to the material the professor has put up. You have access to other students who may be on a different time schedule than you. But you have the benefit of participating in that class with people from all over the country, all ages, rural, urban, people who may be in high levels in their jobs. Some people are just starting out. It's a very exciting kind of environment in which to study.
Sounds quite interesting. My daughter has taken, although she's in a traditional college, she's taken a few online courses. And she says it's quite different, and everything that you've been mentioning, mm-hmm. She agrees with. It allowed her flexibility. She didn't have to be at a certain place at a certain time necessarily. She interacted with people by mail, mm-hmm. Discussion areas on the internet, on the web, and like she would be required to respond to a study question, and so other people would post comments at different times of the day, like over a period of 3 days, mm-hmm. and then the professor would evaluate the discussion, and she only interacted with the professor online as well, so there was no she never heard the professor's voice. She never saw the professor's face, and so it was unusual for her because she was so used to she's in her 4th year of a traditional college, right. But she was able to complete credits in subjects that she did not have access to at her brick and mortar's mm-hmm. College. So it enabled her to go further than the brick and mortar, physical buildings on her campus than she might have. So it was very, very useful.
An online course, online learning can be extremely enriching, and it does not have to be a lonely experience as some people think. We have any number of students who have developed very deep and meaningful relationships with their fellow students, even though they meet thousands of miles away. In fact, about 3 years ago, at our commencement ceremony, and we have an annual commencement ceremony here in Albany at the Empire State Plaza. We hold it near the beginning of July. That's so that working adult can bring their families with them, and the children of these adults can watch their mom and dad earning the degree, walking across the stage, participating in that commencement ceremony. But to say about 3 years ago, the student speakers at our commencement ceremony were two ladies who met via courses that they were taking from Excelsior College. One happens to live here in Del Mar, another one is down in Texas. And they started taking this course together, and through that process realized they were roughly the same age, they had the same number of children, they had the same interests, they became very, very fast friends. They never met in person until they came here for commencement.
What an exciting thing it must have been for everyone who saw it, that bond.
Absolutely.
That can form.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Talk a little bit about, if you would, about the support that your programs give to people, because when people make a phone call, I assume, or send an email requesting information about your programs, there's a lot of people, my understanding from speaking to you before, is that who are actually on your campus here in Albany,
Yes.
as well as around the country, if maybe not the world, I'm not sure.
Well, we have about 400 people who are employed at Excelsior College. The vast majority are here in Albany. But we do have folks who are admissions counselors who are scattered around the country. They may have worked for us at one point in time and for various reasons moved to another state, but they were a very valued employee. They wanted to continue working for us, and they could do that at a distance because they could be online, they could be on the telephone, speaking to someone from the West Coast when it's West Coast time, as opposed to talking to someone in Albany, New York when it's 9 p.m. here and only 6 p.m. out on the West
Never
Coast.
even thought about that. There, the logistics of time zone.
Absolutely. But one of the unique aspects of what happens is that when you first contact us, you're going to be speaking to an admissions counselor. And just as if you were looking to go to Siena or to SUNY or to the University of Wisconsin, you want to talk to the admissions department to get a good feel for what the college is about, to find out what the expectations are. And if you're not sure if distance or online is right for you, at our website you can take a survey. You can answer some questions to help you determine whether or not online or distance learning is right for you, if it really fits your learning style. Once you decide that's what you want to do, you enroll, you'll have a team of academic advisors that will be on your side. Anytime you need assistance, you call via telephone, email, and they're there. They will answer the questions. And just as if you were going to a traditional campus-based program, you need to get that advisor approval to take a particular course so that you make sure that what you're taking, that those credits will indeed apply toward your degree requirements. So we operate in very similar fashion to a traditional campus, except we're not traditional, and you're not walking into someone's office. You could sit at home in your bunny slippers and do your coursework in a very relaxed mode, but it's not easy. A lot of people think it's easy. It's not. The majority of people will tell you that the courses they've taken online are among the more difficult and the more rewarding that they've ever taken.
Yes, and my children tell me that as well. Tell us about a little bit about each of your programs. Like, I know you have a business program, a nursing program, and technology as well, and I think you said liberal studies.
Right. Well, we have our four schools: School of Liberal Arts, Business and Technology, Nursing, and Health Sciences. In our business program, we offer degrees of the associate, baccalaureate, and master's. We have an MBA with emphasis on the global economy, global business. Our associate degrees in technology are especially suited to folks in the military. In fact, we have a number that are aligned very closely with the type of training someone might receive in a technical area while serving in the military. In that particular school, in a technology area, we happen to have a program in nuclear engineering technology. It's one of only two in the nation that are nationally accredited in that field. And you say, well, wait a second, nuclear technology, how do we do that at a distance? A very large number of people who are in that program are coming out of the Navy Nuclear Power School, or they are already working in the industry, and they have taken a number of industry-based training programs, which also have been evaluated by the American Council on Education as college-level equivalent, and they can be used toward degree requirements. Our School of Nursing happens to be the largest in the nation. We have about 17,000 students enrolled in the School of Nursing, 15,000, a little more than 15,000 of which are enrolled in our associate degree in nursing program. If you're going to become an RN, you basically go to a hospital-based School of Nursing to earn your diploma, or you earn an associate degree in nursing. The real big difference for our program at the associate degree level in nursing is that you already need to be a licensed practical nurse or licensed vocational nurse, paramedic, military corpsman, certain other healthcare fields where you already have an experience and continue to have an experience in dealing with patients and working in the medical field.
So the clinical setting, in other words, you already
absolutely.
have to have some clinical.
It's not for someone like myself who may come in off the street today and decide I'd like to go into nursing. It's a very rewarding career, but I would not be able to get into the program at Excelsior because I don't have that prior experience.
Okay.
Our School of Health Sciences is our newest school, and it is one of our faster growing schools as well. And the liberal arts, that's where most of our students graduate, earning their degree. About 2,000 or so of the 5,200 last year earned degrees in liberal arts. And one of our larger programs there is criminal justice. We have a bachelor's program in criminal justice that has, in all our schools, a national faculty, national student base. So we're rather diverse in the course offerings we have. Might also add, too, that we have a Center for Professional Development where we offer a series of non-credit bearing courses that someone could take. You may need not necessarily to earn a degree for your job or that next one that you want, but you need to have some training, education background, a certification in a particular area. And these programs in the Center for Professional Development are designed to provide you with that development professional experience to sit for perhaps a certification exam that's offered in a particular field. So you can go the degree route, you could go the certificate route. And we also do have credit-bearing certificates in our schools. But the Center for Professional Development is non-credit bearing.
Okay. Would you talk a little bit about, excuse me, I lost my train of thought. Okay, this is what I wanted to ask you. When people are looking for traditional college programs, they can go to a wide assortment of books and online sources to evaluate whether or not the colleges are good colleges, accredited colleges. Mm-hmm. Would you talk a little bit about that with your Excelsior College? Because
Sure.
People may not have heard of Excelsior College before.
Absolutely. Well, of the 32,000 students that we have, only a few hundred come from the capital region, maybe 250. In fact, 90% of those 32,000 students come from states outside New York. Whether you're going to go to a traditional school or you're going to go to a school like Excelsior, you want to make sure that it's an accredited school. And what does that really mean? Well, there are two bodies that you can go to, two authoritative sources that you can go to make sure that A, the school is accredited, but more importantly, that the body that's accrediting the school is indeed legitimate. So you want to go to the U.S. Department of Education website, or you want to go to a website for a group called CHEA, which is C-H-E-A, the Commission on Higher Education Accreditation. And those two organizations will affirm whether or not the accrediting body is legitimate. That's number one. Number two is that you want to look for institutional accreditation, and if you're in a specialized degree area, the specialized accreditation. Colleges and universities themselves are accredited as institutions. Curiously, the highest level of accreditation in the United States is regional accreditation. There are 6 regional accrediting bodies around the country that the Secretary of Education has recognized as performing that function. In this area of the U.S., it's the Middle States Association. Excelsior College as an institution is accredited by the Commission on Higher Education of the Middle States Association of Colleges and Schools. There's a New England Association, there's a Southern Association, etc. You also want to look at programmatic accreditation. Our School of Nursing, for example, is accredited at the associate, baccalaureate, and master's level by the National League for Nursing Accrediting Commission. In fact, our School of Nursing at all levels has been designated by the National League of Nursing as a center of excellence in nursing education. There are about 2,500 schools of nursing in the country. We're one of only 13 that have that designation. And I mentioned earlier the nuclear engineering technology program that we have. We also have one in electronics engineering technology, both of which have specialty accreditation from the Technology Accrediting Commission of the Accrediting Board for Engineering and Technology. So whether you're going to a campus-based program or you're looking at a distance learning institution, you want to look for institutional accreditation, and if you're in a specialized field, if there is specialized or programmatic accreditation.
Okay, that's great. Before we end, is there anything you would like to add or emphasize about what we've talked about in this last half hour? I just think it's a fantastic opportunity, and it's certainly the wave of the future, given the mobility of our population and the changes in our economy.
Sure, absolutely. And of that figure that I gave you, where 90% of the jobs that are in demand and will be in demand require some form of post-secondary education. There's another statistic I saw, and I believe it was from the 1990 census, that today 25% of the jobs that are out there didn't exist in 1990. And so you put those two together, lifelong learning really is something that everyone is engaged in. Whether they come to the Sanford Library on a weekend or an evening just to read, become more knowledgeable about something, or they're taking a class here, or they're taking something at the Y, they're taking a class at a college somewhere, they're really engaged in a lifelong learning process. At Excelsior, our mission is to break down the barriers to someone to earn that higher education credential. And so if you look at the learning that may be taking place both inside a classroom and in non-traditional settings, in the corporate world, in the military, all of that can be looked at and evaluated in light of college-level equivalency. And many people may find that they're much further along toward a degree than they actually think.
That's great. Would you offer the web address and maybe a phone
Sure.
number? We will have it on the screen, but perhaps
Well,
right now.
we're right here in Albany, so you can call us at 464-8500. And our website is www.excelsior, that's EXCELSIOR.edu.
Thank you very much, Bill Stewart from Excelsior College, right in our backyard.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us, Parenting in the 21st Century.